Oh, it's pretty much perfect. We woke up and it was already, it's been bright sunshine all morning long. The wind is offshore. We've got this south-southeast wind blowing out of the river mouth here in Mundaka, which has just groomed these lines to perfection. Unfortunately, the swell dropped off considerably overnight, but you just got to go with it. Here is yellow, Marcelo Nunes for his first wave.
Look at the young Brazilian go. I mean, he just punched around that section like it wasn't even there. You got to think he's really familiar with the size of these waves coming from Brazil.
Yeah, this has got to resemble some wave down in Brazil.
As he's racing down the line, just no problem making it to that open face, Dave.
He got some speed out the back, little floater, then kind of went up vertically through the foam ball to make it around that first section, then kind of bogged his next turn, but then picked up on the inside there. Now it's going to be interesting to see with this incoming tide if we get the push or if we're going to get some flat. Here's the replay. Let's check this one in slow motion from Marcelo Nunes.
Yeah, you can see his low center of gravity just really projecting on that floater. And right here is where I was really interested. He seemed just to plow around the section and up over the whitewater right there. And, I mean, that was a pretty difficult maneuver for that wave.
That was sick, but it looked a lot better in slow motion on the screen than it actually did in live action. So we'll see what the judges thought of that one. Lost a little bit of speed there, but did connect with the section. So
look at him go. I mean, he's just zinging down the line. I mean, that wave was like about 2-foot face, and he was just pumping down the line.
Managed to put in 4 solid maneuvers, but not solid enough. A 3.33 for that first wave of Marcelo. So he'll be paddling back out the back and looking for something a little bit better.
Imagine that wave backside, though. Oh, that would have been really difficult. I mean, if anybody could rip it, it would be Trent Munro. But man, that would have been a hard wave backside. I mean, as the tide fills in, we'll have to wait and see. But
if we're going to get the push, or if it's just going to flatten things out,
just disappear.
Looks like we've got longer and longer lulls in between the sets, Dino. So I don't know if that is a very promising sign, but.
Well, I can tell you what, Trent Munro is definitely one of the best backsiders on a small, pockety wave. As he's paddling into this wave here, we'll wait and see what he has to say about this. And, definitely snapped that thing. Trent Munro
just call him one of the best backside surfers in the world, and there's a reason for it, and you're finding out what that is right now.
Just power, compact style, throwing this board vertical, tons of strength in his legs. You can see how he pushes through his turns.
Well, Dino, these conditions really working to Trent's forte, which is small backhand waves. His 2 WCT wins coming in Brazil in small left-handers and at Phillips Island 2 years ago for the Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach Easter Classic.
Yeah, I know that the one he won in Brazil, he dismantled. If you watch the replay, you can see how he's just really springy on his backside. And any chance you get, any little pocket, he really likes the pocket of the wave. As you can see here, nice little floater as he's looking for the pocket here. Real low center of gravity, and right here he just snaps that thing really low to his board.
How much spray does he throw on such a small wave?
Yeah, he's
That's sick. Showing the power to go with the speed and the technical prowess.
Really good form and technique for the young Australian Trent Munro.
And good for a 5.83 right now. It doesn't look like the judges aren't going to throw down much more than a 5 or 6 point for a wave that small. They have seen some bigger sets, as have you if you've been watching us from the start of the day this morning at the Billabong Pro Mundaka. And a little glitch and things, but here he comes once again, Trent Munro,
Nice little snap off the top, and another one. And another one. Man, Trent's just putting combos together on this wave, Dave. Just hacking it. He went, that one was upside down. I mean.
Okay, well, Trent just making me eat my words, actually. That last one was a 5.83. I can't wait to see what that one was going to be. Quick in and out there from Marcelo Nunes. Marcelo's still sitting out the back. He will still have priority. But Trent Munro really putting the pressure on. He's like, it's all right. Small, hollow, fast lefts. Watch this, boys.
I think Marcelo is wondering right around now why he gave that wave to Trent. Trent just making him pay dearly for that.
Yeah, Marcelo will be kicking himself on that one, especially because Marcelo is a really fast, compact surfer as well. His style fits this wave perfectly, and so he'll definitely be scratching his head going, why did I let Trent have that one? Well, because he's sitting – oh, here we go once again. Let's check this replay, Dino.
Like, here you go, like big snap off the top, and those first two turns were just quick snaps, and that third one throwing tons of spray in the fourth one.
As well.
And if you watch his style right here, he goes upside down and just pushes the board through the lip. Just a wicked attack from the young Australian there, upside down about 5 times on that wave. That was amazing surfing for the quality of that wave, Dave.
And good enough for 7.33. So in the judges' eyes, very good surfing from Trent Munro, currently in the red singlet, and out in front, Marcelo Nunes now needing a 9.83. Still 24 minutes remaining in this 30-minute round.
No delay on those turns, by the way.
None whatsoever. You know, I mean, the judges want to see the most critical maneuvers, most radical maneuvers in the most critical part of the wave performed with speed, power, and fluidity, taking into account variety and progressive maneuvers, and Trent pretty much had that.
Here you go. Big snap off the top from Marcelo Nunes as he's racing down the line. Another big floater. Almost catching a little bit of rail on the way up that face, but nonetheless pulling through it, no problem, as he's racing down the line. Looks like the wind's getting under his board a bit, but nonetheless bouncing around that section. Another nice vertical for Marcelo Nunes.
Well, that's more of what we really expect to see from Marcelo Nunes in these kind of conditions. Of course, Marcelo is also a very talented aerial surfer, so the only thing that surprised me on that wave was the fact that he didn't go for a big frontside air or air 180 reverse on that one. But
well, I think the wind coming up the face makes it a little bit harder to do aerials. So you can see a lot of the guys, if it was onshore, they might try to pop an air over the section, but because of the wind going up the face.
Yeah, side shore kind of just wipes it out from under here. Let's check this one out on the replay.
If you watch this replay, you can see the wind going up the face. Nice little snap off the top. Almost catches as he's coming down the face of that wave there, Marcelo Nunes, as he punches through around this section. Another nice little floater, kind of rock and rolls it down. And right here he has a bunch of speed as he goes onto the open face. The wind looks like it catches his board a little bit right there, Dave.
Look how compact he is, though. That was a great cutback kind of along the lines of Corey Lopez's roundhouse. And really, the full direction changes like that are really hard to do out here because, as you've all been seeing, this wave is super fast and just runs away from you. So very technical surfing, and his score is coming in now. Looks like the judges appreciated that one. I know I did, and apparently we're going to move down to GT, who's got some info for us down from the water's edge. Going over to JT in 3, 2, 1. GT, take it away.
Here with last heat's victor, Mr. Corey Lopez. Corey, a good bit of business out there with an 8 and an 8.33.
Yeah, I got lucky and, the tide changed and we moved up the point and a couple good waves came through. The waves aren't great, but they're really fun. It's not like not barreling or nothing, but, it's good for doing some turns. So.
And, you have to be stoked on the kind of Basque Country surf fans. I mean, they're into it.
Yeah, they're psyched. They love to watch people surfing, man. And the Basque guys out in the boat were really getting me fired up. They were, cheering, big time, so that was cool.
And, one of the ways that didn't count for you, but the wind and in some cases that kind of frontside three you threw down, it kept the board kept on your feet because of that wind.
Yeah, I knew I was it's towards the end of the heat and I had them combo, so I was just going to go for something big and, try a big aerial. Unfortunately, the wind keeps the board to your feet, but it kind of blew me out the back, so it was, it was something to do, though.
Well, it was awesome. You got your big scores, but I think I heard the loudest round of applause when you threw that big one down.
Yeah, the crowd here, they really love the barrel and they really love airs. If you do an air, the crowd will just go nuts around here, and same for the barrel. So they don't care too much about turns, but airs and barrels, they love it.
Well, we'll take it all, and congratulations on your victory.
Right on, thanks.
All right, boys, let's see here. We have some waves coming in here. Oh, here we go, red with the power. It is Trent Munro. He kicks out, and then down in the corner, Marcelo's going to pick it up. Marcelo takes off with the lip over his head, hits it once. Look at this little racetrack he has in front of him. Comes around the corner, banks it off the top. There's a bit of white water. Softening up here. as he's trying to keep his speed up to this little inside wedgie. Let's see who he's going to finish with. A big frontside punt, but not quite. And like Corey said a second ago, the Bass Country Surf fans really love their air shows. So anyways, boys, back to you on the host set.
Thank you very much, GT. Frothing almost harder than Nick Carroll on that last wave of Marcelo Nunes, but love to hear it. That's the excitement that is generated by the great surfing from our WCT Top 45 out here at the Billabong Pro Mundaka. And Dino, some very impressive surfing from both surfers in this heat so far, but probably the first matchup of the day that's gone or that's going in the favor of the regular-footed backside surfer out here.
Yeah, I mean, Trent Munro is just unloading. If you watch this replay on this last one from Marcelo Nunes, he picked this wave off down the line, and Trent was trying to get down the line, couldn't make it, as Marcelo Nunes snaps that first turn there, throwing tons of spray, and keeping his speed down the line, not really redirecting into the pocket, kind of just a hack throwing spray. And the second turn on just kind of a check snap. Great low center of gravity, and he's kind of bouncing, rocking his board back and forth to keep the momentum down the line. And you can sense this on this wave that some urgency to try to do something there. And unfortunately, trying a big air and unable to keep his board underneath his feet.
Exactly what you were saying before. The guys, when it's offshore, it is harder to keep control of the boards when the guys do bust those aerial maneuvers. As Corey said, it's like, yeah, it was pretty good. Kind of helped him hold the board to his feet, but at the same time blew him out the back. So the airs will pay if they can stick him. It's a sure thing that the public down here in the Bass Country lining the cliff do love to see those aerial maneuvers. Judges don't mind seeing them either, but they do want to see you stick them. So that one good enough for a 4.0 for Marcelo Nunes. Imagine what it would have been if he'd stuck that frontside air. Still well within reach, though, Marcelo. Just needing a 6.34 with 18 minutes remaining, Dino. So this one's going in the favor of Trent Munro, but far from over for Marcelo Nunes.
Well, it was interesting to hear Corey Lopez talking about the crowd and what they liked. I mean, geez, if you'd have to consider him a huge favorite in this event with the crowd, because if they like barrels and airs, that's Corey Lopez. Big time.
That's his cup of tea.
I mean, he gets barreled at Chopu and anywhere he is, pipeline, and he does gigantic airs. So, I mean, those are his two best, that's about the two best things on his forte.
Exactly. And actually, quite a few people from the internet writing in to ask if Corey continues surfing like he's surfing. Do we think that he could, end up in the latter ends of the latter rounds of the contest and the quarters of the semis up against some of our front runners like Mick Fanning and Joel Parkinson? What do you reckon, Dino?
Well, if you ask the crowd, they'd have to say yeah, because, I mean, he is definitely a crowd favorite.
The final answer to that question will be up to the ASP judging panel and the surfers themselves. All the boys will definitely be getting their froth on as we get into the latter rounds of this event. Once again, we are just over halfway through round 2. We are actually in heat number 13 of this round 2. I'd like to at least get through heat number 16, and if we're very lucky, run a few heats of round 3 today. But you know what, Dino, I'm really not sure. It's kind of a toss-up right now if this incoming tide is going to give us that little push in the swell that we've been hoping for, or if it's just going to make things go completely flat.
It's definitely questionable, debatable, you might say.
Kind of a roll of the dice here.
You can guarantee that Mike Parsons is upstairs
taking
wandering
a close look at conditions, no doubt, with Craig Sage, our co-contest director. Of course, Craig.
He's probably on the horn, back to the States with Sean Collins, our official forecasting with Surfline. And
as well as debating conditions with Francois. Well, actually, Francois Liette's out on the jet skis working the water patrol, but also Billabong.com's weather forecaster for Europe. So we have plenty of local knowledge, and all the boys will be putting their heads together and hoping to make the right call.
Well, I know that Sean Collins was on the phone with Mike Parsons yesterday early, and he just said, hey, wait, man, don't worry. It's going to come, and before you knew it, it was here. So the guys on it. You know, Mike's got a great relationship with Sean Collins from Surfline, and I'm sure they're working it out up there along with Perry Hatchett and a surfers rep. So let's hope for the best. There is still great contestable surf here.
Yeah, and let's just hope that it stays great and contestable through this incoming high tide. Everyone, keep your fingers crossed. Currently out in the water, halfway through this heat number 13 of round 2. 15 minutes remaining for Marcelo Nunes in yellow and Trent Munro in red. Trent currently leading, making the regular footers, doing the regular footers justice today here in these hollow and very fast head-high left-handers at Mundaka. Marcelo Nunes looking for a 6.34. There you can see a long shot overview of the break. You can still see the lines cruising in here into the Mundaka Rivermouth estuary, but definitely lacking in the 8 to 10 foot barrels like there were out there.
I mean,
for
you
a
know,
few heats.
looking at this heat, you have Trent Munro in this heat, and it must be a weird dynamic to be. You know, last year he was going for the title. You know,
and this
now
year he's just going for requalification.
It goes to show how hard and difficult this tour is now. Every surfer, there's never an easy heat. They're all capable of putting up a really high heat score. And Trent Munro in the number 30 spot on the WCT tour.
3 spots away from requalifying directly through the WCT, and otherwise he's going to have to drop off the CT at the end of this year and go requalify through the WQS, because he has no WQS results at all on tour this year. Actually, only 2 surfers have really chosen to back up the CT with QS results. That's South Africa's Travis Logie, who we saw a couple of heats ago in fine form, and Brazil's Victor Ribas. And for Victor, sitting in the 28th position, so he might need to use that WQS qualification to requalify for the WCT Top 45. And right now, Chris Ward in the 27th position.
Okay. Well, I think we have some interviews with some of the best surfers in the world telling us about some of their favorite breaks in the world, and we'll cut into that real shortly here.
I mean, Mundaka must figure on that list of favorite breaks as we move to those interviews in just a few seconds. Here we go. Well, apparently we're back here. We don't have those favorite place on tour images coming across the screen, and we didn't have any audio, so we'll go back to some of your questions on the email while we're waiting for the next set to roll through for Marcelo Nunes and Trent Munro. A couple people want to know if the ASP has any anti-doping exams. Well, that's up to the local federations, actually, and the only country in the world right now where they do test is in France. Which is one of the reasons why Neko Padarats is having to requalify through the WQS this year, because he did test positive for steroids 2 years ago in France. Of course, it was through a medication that was prescribed by his doctor in Brazil, so he wasn't purposely doping, but there were traces of steroids in his system for the drug testing in France 2 years ago. So to everyone who wants to know, do they get tested? Well, only in France. Leave it to the French for that, eh?
Well, they did it enough with Lance Armstrong. I'm sure they got it pretty wired, right?
Yeah, they should have it wired.
They did it every week, you know, with him. So, nonetheless, looks like Chad's writing in asking if Jeremy Flores and Dane Reynolds will be future WCT winners. Well, I can tell you one thing. If Dane Reynolds gets on the tour,
it's going to be a definite threat.
He's definitely, if radical maneuvers play a part, I think he's on the top of the list.
For sure.
Definitely opening everyone's eyes in the industry on how radical surfing can be in 2006. The kid's just taking it to another level.
Even Kelly Slater puts him up there amongst his favorite free surfers in the world, Dane Reynolds. Oh, and back to the action in the water here in Mundaka. This is Marcelo Nunes flying down the line on this one, Dino.
Wow, he unloaded those first 3 turns on that wave, just zipping down the line. Really looking on this wave. Actually, this is I might say the best wave he's had this heat, Chad.
Well,
looking at the back, looks like Trent Munro, too.
Ooh, what's Trent going to do on this one? Just using those backside turns, but definitely he's got his rhythm and flow going on this one. And with that incoming tide, not so much of a closeout section through the middle there. Let's see if he can get through it. Well, that'll be interesting. So Marcelo on his front side was able to maybe read that wave a little bit better. Made it through or past that closeout section. Trent Munro had to settle for that last re-entry. Marcelo was looking for a 6.34, and Trent to replace a 5.83. What do you think's going through the judges' minds right now, Dino?
Well, I think there's a good chance that Trent Munro might have bettered one of his scores, and I'm almost positive that Marcelo Nunes bettered one of his scores. But I think Trent's wave was a bit better. I don't know if he surfed it quite as good as some of the other waves he surfed, but I think the quality of his wave was pretty good. You know, there was a lot of opportunity there for scores.
Well, and he threw in his now trademark backhand bashes off the lip there. Judges are definitely scratching their heads up top, wondering what kind of scores they are going to throw down, because they're not coming in quickly, which means that they are not hesitating, but taking the time to really evaluate that last exchange between Marcelo and Trent. And while we are waiting, maybe we can go back and answer a few more questions. People want to know about swell forecast. Well, this swell was forecasted to die a little bit today, and then hopefully get a bump again tomorrow. Oh, here, let's go back to the replay, and we'll talk about swell forecast later.
Well, if you see Trent, he looks right there. He's kind of on the face, kind of just a snap in the open face, not really in the lip. Here he gets a little bit more critical on that snap, kind of looking for the bowl. Not really, you know, this one he gets a little bit more vertical. Never really getting a lip though, Dave, on this wave. And here he kind of bounces through this flat section, and another little on the face carve there. Never really getting to the lip. There he finally cracks it in the pocket, and. You know, I think he finishes with a nice turn here, too, as well.
Yeah,
a nice full rail carve with a little release on the tail.
And all that good enough for a 6.4. So, Dino, you just whacked that one on the head, bettering his 5.83. And would have extended his lead, a 6.87 for that last one of Marcelo Nunes, and then a quick in and out for a 1.93. And unfortunately for Marcelo, though, that 6.4 just enough to keep Trent in the lead, and Marcelo now looking for another 6.87 to go with his second to last wave score, 6.87, to take the lead off of Trent Munro with 7 minutes and 10 seconds remaining. Looks like Trent was. Let's have a look at that last 6.87 from Marcelo Nunes.
Well, this wave he looks really quite on, Dave. He's pumping down the line. He looks really confident on his board. He kind of rocks that bottom turn. Nice speed float, kind of a blast float around that section as he hits the open face here. And I think that's the wave.
That must have been his 1.93.
Yeah, that was a bit different wave than I was talking about, but nonetheless, his 6.87. He did look on though on that wave, Dave. He had tons
super
of
long one. He had plenty of speed, power. He had the flow, mixed up his maneuvers. It was just, once again, we don't really have the critical sections like we had out there yesterday, so I guess it's really about just staying in the pocket and throwing down the biggest moves possible. At least Marcelo knows what he needs to do to get a 6.87. He needs to get a carbon copy of his last wave to bring himself back into the lead on this one. 6 minutes remaining, tight heat, and Marcelo, Dino, having another look at this insider.
Oh, nice little open face snap for Marcelo, and opting to kick out. Probably thinking that wasn't quite enough to get the score he needs.
Yeah, that was probably a good idea. Here's a replay, very dark on our screen, hopefully not quite as much so on yours, of his last 6.87.
Looks like he's rocking down the line right there, and nice little snap off the top. We're having a little technical difficulty on being able to see this on our monitor, but nonetheless, nice snap off the top there, nice little roundhouse. And Marcelo Nunes looking really, lively on this wave. And as he pumps down the line, Nice little floater as he bumps around this section. And up over the whitewater lip there to get onto the open face. You know, that wave was, and I think that was where he did the big wrap snap right there, throwing tons of spray.
Fully just put that board on rail all the way back into the pocket, smacked it off the foam. And once again, and out the back, this is Trent Munro on this one. Beautiful set wave for Trent.
Oh, man, that was, he answered the call on that wave.
Think he wants to replace his 6.4?
Well, I think he might have done it on that one. Those two first snaps were vicious, man. Wow. Great surfing from Trent Munro on that wave, Dave.
Well, as you were saying, Dino, he was in the top 5 in the world for most of the year last year and is absolutely gutted to be in the 30th position. And just a little wake-up call maybe for the judging panel and for the rest of the top 45 that can never count this man out, and especially not in a place like Mundaka on a head-high day with perfect reeling left-handers that he can just go to town on his backside. Let's have another look at this one, Dino. Talk us through it.
Yeah, you can tell he snaps that thing. Just his tail kind of releases and throws tons of spray. No delay on his bottom turn. Straight into the lip again. I mean, just off the bottom, off the top combinations there for Trent Munro. Using his rail again and just snapping that third turn. Man, he put together some great vicious turns on that wave.
Well, it's exactly what the judges are looking for. If you can't get barreled out here, they want to see you really just put that board straight up into the lip, throw huge buckets off the top.
Continuously, too. Just no breaks in the action for Trent Munro on that wave, just one after another.
Well, that's where they took style out of the criteria and put fluidity in, and very fluid surfing from Trent. Not a movement out of place as he just flows from one maneuver into the next. No Huntington hop.
He pushed viciously off his back foot on those turns, Dave. And it looks like Marcelo Nunes giving it a go. We'll have to wait and see what he needs, but with only 3 minutes remaining, I think he needs a tall order.
And here's Trent Munro once again. Trent Munro with a 7.5 on that last one, Dino. So you did call it his best wave of the heat, leaving Marcelo Nunes needing a 7.96. So Marcelo is frontside. We have seen some 8-point-plus waves out of our goofy footers in the earlier heats today. So definitely a 7.96, not out of reach for Marcelo, but with 2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, he's going to need to snag a solid set wave and snag it soon if he wants to have any chance of moving through to round 3 over Trent Munro. And it looks like the surfers from the next heat already paddling out the back. Once again, we will be seeing Adriano de Souza and Paulo Moura coming up in heat number 14. So after Marcelo Nunes, 2 of his countrymen. So we'll at least be seeing one Brazilian moving through to round 3. Coming up next, once again, Adriano de Souza and Paulo Moura. Adriano, the highest ranked of the Brazilians, sitting in 22nd position. And Paulo Moura in 36th, which is a bit surprising as Paulo was the highest ranked Brazilian on tour last year, so having a bit of shocker this year as well. It's amazing how the ratings just change around with the new influx of surfer every year.
Well, like you were saying, the tide is filling in, and there is the potential that Mike Parsons might have to make a decision here whether he's going to keep holding this event or not.
Well, that was the big question all day. Was the end of the swell that hit yesterday going to stick around with us or not today? It was with us in the morning, and, I kind of thought that we were going to just get the little push with the incoming tide, but it looks like it's kind of going the opposite direction, that it's getting longer and longer between the lulls and less wave to work with as the hours and minutes tick by here at the Billabong Pro Mundaka. Once again, Adriano and Paulo in the lineup, waiting for the start of the next heat. We got 50 seconds remaining out here, but still potential to score. I mean, you look at the score line, Dino, a 7.33 and a 7.5 from Trent, a 6.83 and a 6.87 from Marcelo. So,
well, we'll have to wait and see here with the time ticking down.
35 seconds.
Looks like a set maybe on the horizon, but we'll have to wait and see if this thing generates or not, and gives Marcelo Nunes an opportunity to score.
So try and answer some water questions while we're waiting. What's the water temp? It's in the high 60s if you're on the Fahrenheit scale, and in around 19, 20 degrees if you're on Celsius. And with 10 seconds remaining, this is going to be crucial, Dino.
Well, here you go, Dave. Marcelo Nunes with an opportunity here. Nice snap off the top for the young Brazilian. Another snap. It's looking like he's going to try to bump around the section. Big float as he generates some speed around the section here.
Ooh,
and
he's got to make it through this foam ball.
We'll have to wait and see what he does here.
Looking for a 7.96.
Oh,
That was a solid snap, but
oh.